Hey guys, welcome back to Porter Valley Ranch. Today's video is not clickbait. I am thoroughly convinced that YouTube and one person on YouTube helped save this goat's life. I do not think he would be here without the advice that I got from this person. Stick around so you can see what it was. Came home today, came home from the gym. I had to go teach this morning and had some classes, and when I came home I knew there was a pretty good chance of something bad happening because when I left I couldn't find one of our goats. We bought some of the full-blood ibex back in the summer and they just haven't been very healthy. We haven't been able to keep weight. We really tried to push nutrition to them. We've tried to do everything we can, but they just haven't been healthy. And a lot of people that raise exotic animals kind of find this, that they don't have any natural immunity, so they tend to pick up parasites and worms and things like that pretty easily. So I've stayed on top of them. I've been trying to give them the copper boluses and really trying to push all the medication and stuff to them. But two of them have been looking pretty bad. Their health's been deteriorating. I've been working with them. Just hasn't really worked out the way that I'd like for it to. So I knew coming home that there was a chance that it wasn't going to be good. And so when I walked down into the pen, Beckham, our male ibex, was pretty sick. So I grabbed him and carried him to the barn, and when I carried him he didn't really put up much of a fight, so I knew that he wasn't feeling good at all. So I got him in the barn and went looking for Victoria, the little female, and I found her, and she is dead. She's over here. So it's pretty disheartening. She hasn't been gone long, but it's kind of one of those things. As a farmer, as a rancher, you know you're gonna lose some, but when you do, it doesn't get any easier. These full bloods that we bought, they were pretty expensive. They were about $1,000 a piece, so it's a financial loss for our family. It's emotional, because you get these animals, you get to know them, you get to know their personalities, you try to keep them safe. You know, they kind of become part of your family. Obviously they're not a kid, they're not a person, but you know, they're still part of your family. You learn things about them, and it's your job to keep them safe and to keep them healthy. So when something goes wrong and you fail, you take it personally. We lost one of these ibex back in the summer, and I didn't film it. I didn't video it because I didn't want to show that side, that vulnerability. Because like I said, you look at it as a failure. So when one of my animals dies, is it because of something I did? And the answer to that, it could be yes. Maybe I should have seen some signs that I didn't see. In this case, I think I was treating the wrong thing. I think that she died of coccidiosis. I think that Beckham is suffering because of it, and I started treating Beckham for that. So I had given them different kinds of wormer and antibiotics and things, but I think I was treating the wrong thing. So it's a hard pill to swallow that maybe I could have done something differently, but that's part of the journey. It's part of the learning process that you have to go through when you have animals. You can't call a vet every time something goes wrong, every time something looks sick. I mean, I guess you could, but like, for one, it's super expensive. Two, they're probably eventually going to quit answering your phone calls. And three, you have to learn. You have to learn how to navigate, you know, your herd on your property, because everybody's herd and property is different. I actually talked to the Chrissy over at Paragon Ridge just the other day, and she was having some problems with hers. And you know, I was able to give her some advice. Hopefully it helps. She actually just had some babies, so congratulations to them over there, the Schulens. But you know, I'm gonna take this loss and I'm gonna talk to my dad. I'm gonna talk to some people that raise these ibex and see what, thought I was stepping on a snake just now. Would have made a good video, I didn't. I'm gonna learn from this experience and I'm gonna get better because of it, but for today, man, it hurts. It stings. Feels like I failed. Feels like I let you know, her down, family down, because I you know, let a resource that we had slip through the cracks. You know, these animals to us are an investment. They're animals, they're pets, but they're also an investment for the future. If these animals have offspring, then we can raise a herd, sell those offspring, and, you know, generate revenue for ourselves, for our family, pay for itself. So it's a failure, and it's hard when you fail, but you have to learn from it and move on. So today I'm going to take her and, you know, go bury her so that nothing gets her. Still need to be humane about it, you know. And then I'm going to pour some energy into Beckham, into nursing him back to health. I think that he's got coccidia, which is a parasite that can be in the ground. A lot of times it comes in the spring when they're eating new vegetation, but it could also come in the fall. There's a lot less vegetation, so they're still scrambling to find anything green that they can. So if they eat too close to the ground, they can pick it up. Coccidia is a parasite that is in pretty much every farm. You know, it's in the soil. It's just a matter of if they pick it up and if it overtakes them. A big part with goats is keeping their copper levels high. If they have good copper, then the coccidiosis doesn't take over. But with these full bloods, man, I couldn't hardly keep them healthy. Couldn't keep the minerals enough in them. So lessons learned, hopefully. And hopefully by watching this, you can, you know, learn something from me, because I'm going to try to nurse Beckham back to health. He's in pretty bad shape. Honestly, if I wouldn't have come out here this morning and found him when I did, he probably would have been gone by noon. And hopefully we can get him back to health. But if not, you know, that's going to be a big hit. So it's going to hurt. All right, so went and buried Victoria over by the creek. It's kind of walking back up the hill, and I think that it's important to show this video to you guys, because again, it's not always sunshine and rainbows. Whenever you are farming and ranching and dealing with animals, man, there's hard days. There are days where, you know, you're on top of the world, and all of a sudden an animal dies, you know, or something goes wrong. You know, you come home and with new animals and your fence falls down, you gotta get all the rest of them back in and things like that. So it's a pleasure and pain endeavor for sure, for us. I mean, I love it. I wouldn't trade it for the world. I love the experience. I love the responsibility. You know, as a business owner, as a father, I'm used to carrying the weight of others. But it doesn't change that when bad things happen, you still feel it. You know, you still feel the loss, you still feel the responsibility, you still feel the burden, and it's just human nature. You're going to start asking questions. Did I do everything right, or did I do something wrong? And those are questions that are worth asking, and they're also answers worth sharing. So I think that's why, for me, posting this is important. It's an important step for my personal growth. I do not like to show my failures. I usually win. I'm pretty competitive, and I like to win. I don't think of myself as a really cocky person, but definitely competitive, and definitely not somebody who enjoys losing, not somebody who enjoys defeat. So this is a loss. You know, this is a defeat whenever one of our animals dies, especially one that, man, I was really excited about those. They were, you know, they were 100% full blood Nubian ibex, and I was really looking forward to them being able to have some offspring next year. So it stings, you know, it hurts, and it's a financial loss because we invested in them. So it's gonna hurt, but we're gonna move on, we're gonna learn, and we'll be better because of it. All right, guys, so today's Friday. As you saw on Tuesday, Victoria died, and it was not a good day for me. It was a place I felt pretty bad, felt pretty low. Not long after I found Victoria, I also found this little guy, Beckham, and he was on the rocks off a cliff of our property, and he could barely stand up. he's pretty wild. We've only had him for a couple months. He's full-blood ibex, Nubian ibex, so he is pretty skittish, and there is no way on earth that I could catch him in the open field, especially down there on those rocks on a normal day. But I actually just walked up to him and grabbed him, picked him up, and carried him up here to the barn. So I knew that he was not, chickens are being loud, I knew that he was not feeling good, and especially having just found Victoria dead, I knew that he probably wasn't far behind. So I got him, I brought him up here to the barn, started diagnosing his symptoms, started diagnosing what I think might have been wrong with him, and I am thoroughly convinced that the advice of one person, that person is Kevin at Hidden Heights, and a video that I had saw that he posted over a year ago actually saved this guy's life. So I knew I was going to need to get some advice, possibly seek a veterinarian on what was going on with him, what was making him sick, but I knew that I didn't have any time to diagnose it, and that I had to get him better quickly or he was probably going to be gone. He was probably, by my estimation, a couple hours away from dying. So Kevin over at Hidden Heights posted a video well over a year ago, and he recommended this product. This video is not sponsored by this product, but it literally is a game changer. It's called Power Punch, and you guys see that right there? And I'm sure there are other brands that make this, but I saw in his video that he had a sick kid and he gave it to him, and it's just basically like a vitamin infusion. So I gave it to Beckham immediately, then went on with my research to figure out what was wrong. I am convinced that it's coccidiosis is what caused Victoria to die, and also is what made Beckham so sick. We worm our animals quite a bit anytime we see any sort of signs or anything, but this was kind of different. It hit pretty soon, and it really took them downhill fast. And there's some different signs. You can look that up. I'm not a veterinarian. This is not a video about coccidiosis, but you know, you should, number one, be looking at your animals every day, looking for any sort of change. And since we got these full-blood ibex, they have not been very healthy. Animals that come, exotic animals that come from the wild, they don't have the natural immunity that farm animals do. So I feed all of our animals the same thing and treat them all the same way, and all of our goats are flourishing except for these Nubian ibex. The full bloods are just not thriving, and I think that the coccidiosis makes a lot of sense. I've given them a lot of wormer. I've done valbazin, I've done prohibit, I've done ivermectin, but none of those really tackle the coccidia, which is it's a single cell parasite that goes in their small intestines, and it basically just kind of starves them. You know, it inhibits their ability to be able to absorb nutrition. So even though they're eating, they're not absorbing anything. The other thing that's different from worms, a lot of times it actually causes more of a constipation than a scour. So I did notice that with him, that I was watching for scours and didn't see it, but now that I read more about it, I understand a little bit better. So anyway, so a lot of farm animals, you know, they build up a natural immunity. You don't see coccidiosis a lot with older animals and goats. Once they get past about 6 months, they're usually okay because they've built up a natural immunity. But these Nubian ibex or any sort of exotics, you know, people that have tried to do bighorn sheep in captivity, it's almost impossible because they just don't have natural immunity. So the coccidia is really attacking these guys bad. All right, so once I got Beckham on to the Power Punch, it gave him a boost, and it got him honestly out of that danger zone where I thought he was going to die. I had to go to work and teach classes for a few hours, and I was really braced for when I came home that he was going to be gone. It was going to be another huge loss for us, but he wasn't. So I've been giving him that Power Punch, small doses a couple times a day, just to spread that vitamin load out and make sure that he's staying nourished. So for the coccidia, for this coccidiosis, I'm using this Corid. I mixed it up in a bottle like this. Read the instructions on the back. I'm using it as a drench. It's a 5-day treatment. So I mixed it up, and then I'm drenching him every day with that. I also went ahead and gave him a dose of antibiotics. He just had some weird stuff going on, you know, some almost pneumonia-like symptoms too. Again, I think his immune system was just so down that he was just trying to fight everything. So I gave him some LA-200. But we are on day 4 of the Corid, and still giving him Power Punch a couple times a day, just in the small doses of vitamin. And man, he's like night and day. He's not out of the woods yet, as you can tell. He's still pretty skinny. He is significantly in worse shape than most of our goats right now. But I'm convinced that if we can get the coccidia out of his system, that we get him back on some good hay and some grain, that I think he'll start putting his weight back on. So we've got to get the problem solved first. But I just wanted to share with you guys that the advice that you get from some of these people, the experience on YouTube, it can be valuable, and it can really help save, you know, an animal's life. It did for me. And so thanks to Kevin for posting that video. I actually reached out to him, you know, I went ahead and told him personally, thank you, because man, it's awesome to be able to share knowledge and information with people through a medium like this. So hopefully something that we have said today could help you out. Keep an eye on your animals. You know, they can turn pretty quickly. So keep an eye out, use the information around you. You know, whenever you watch these videos, retain the knowledge, try to kind of catalog it, maybe even make some notes of, hey, if I see this, I need to go back and watch this video so that I know what to do. Anyway, so this is Beckham. He's not out of the woods, but I think he's doing better, and I truly believe that YouTube saved his life. You guys have a great day. We'll see you next time on the next video.